In today's Take a Day, I want to talk about Nick Wright, and we'll be reacting to Nick Wright's comments made about Kyrie Irving. Before we get into that, though, please like, subscribe, also hit the notification bell, just so you get the newest and the bonus content first. We put out content every day, so you won't miss any content here. Now, let's go ahead and jump right into this situation. I have been on record speaking to some people that I know in regards to Kyrie Irving and this whole vaccination type situation he has. And by the way, he's not the only one that's actually, having this type of opinion or this type of thought process. Andrew Wiggins is having the same thing, and he's thinking the same thing and going through the same situation. But, I've said before, Kyrie Irving is definitely one of those players who is a deep thinker, very, very deep thinker. And he definitely does things his own way. And I could tell you, there's a lot of teams and a lot of players in the NBA, and there are probably a lot of people in the world he would rub the wrong way if he was around them, because he just has a certain way about him, and a lot of people can't understand his thought process and why he is the way he is. But at the same time, you have to understand this, this is who he is, and this is who he's going to be continuously. Now, Nick Wright, he talks about Kyrie in regards of Kyrie is one to be private about the vaccination and everything, and Kyrie is basically all against it. But before we get into it too far, I'm going to go ahead and let you listen to these comments right here, and then we can jump right back into this.
This is an untenable position for the Nets. It's not Kyrie's fault in this one regard. There's 27 teams where this would be an inconvenience, but not a devastating blow. But if you play in San Francisco or New York City, not being vaccinated means you can't play home games. And I want your thoughts on this, Broussard, at some point I think you would be better off with no Kyrie Irving than Kyrie just for road games. I don't think you can build a cohesive unit if Kyrie is only, and by the way, it's not like, well, you can play home games in the playoffs, though. They're not changing the rules for
right.
that. So this is a brutal spot for the Nets. And if it's going to end, Broussard, with Kyrie getting vaccinated anyway, then the hell are we doing? Then what is this other than a look at me, I'm so interesting because I've discovered something on YouTube that the leading virologists in the world haven't discovered in their lab?
Now, listen to Nick Wright's comments. He makes some valid points. When you hear him say the state of, San Francisco and New York, the city of New York, you have to be vaccinated to play home games. That's a true statement. That's something that has been put out there, and it would be really unprecedented if Kyrie was only able to play away games and no home games, because as Nick Wright was saying, and he was saying that it would really not build much chemistry or camaraderie with the team if Kyrie is only playing away games. Now, I'm not going to sit here and say to you that the Nets are not going to try to make this work with Kyrie, because I think they will. But I do also think Nick Wright has a point. You're better off probably not keeping Kyrie if he's not going to play any home games. You're better off just going elsewhere and either trading him like the Nets were talking about doing, or there's been rumors about that these last couple of weeks, about Kyrie, or at least the last week or so, about trading Kyrie for another player, or maybe even Ben Simmons, I think. And the reason why I think them rumors came out is because, there's people talking probably in the organization of the Nets thinking, well, how are we going to build this big three chemistry when Kyrie is not even going to be available for 40 plus games in the regular season? And, I'm gonna be honest with you, it's not many times, if any, I'm ever on the same side as Nick Wright, because I disagree with the guy on 99% of the takes or the 99% of the shows that he does. But in this one particular instance, I have to say I kind of agree with him, because everybody's talking about the big everybody's talking about the big three in the Nets and how they're going to make it to the NBA Finals. Well, that could be altered if Kyrie is only playing away games, because that means their chemistry is not being built to the level that it's supposed to be, and they might actually fall to a team like the Bucks again if Kyrie is not available or if Kyrie decides to retire. I mean, that's what Kyrie said if they, initiate a trade or anything like that. But I personally don't think Kevin Durant is going to let that happen because that's Kevin Durant's buddy. That's Kevin Durant's guy. And that's who Kevin Durant wanted to build the team with. And they just added James Harden along to the mix because they like him as well. But, I mean, Kyrie is a big focal part of the team, a big focus of the team, and he is what, the team is representing. High offense, able to get to the basket, you know how Kyrie does. He brings that level of box office type gameplay, and, he does have a pretty decent IQ for the game of basketball as well. So, I mean, the team is built around those three players. So, if they trade him for anybody else, I think the operation is dead, or I think the operation isn't going to be as successful as it could be if Kyrie is there. So, I mean, like I said, I'm personally agreeing with Nick Wright. I mean, it's going to be hard for them to build anything if Kyrie is only able to play road games because of the rule that's put in place. Everybody has to be vaccinated. Now, I personally think Kyrie is going to do his research, in which he was saying about doing research and he wants to be private. Me personally, he should have already done research about it, but that's just Kyrie being Kyrie. And I personally think he's more likely going to get vaccinated just to appeal to the team so they can go out and try to win a championship. And I think Kevin Durant, might be one of the players that might tell him to do so, or maybe another teammate, who knows. But I think all this will get settled at some point. But if it doesn't, and if Kyrie sticks to his regimen, if he sticks to his thought process the way it is now, I don't really see how the Nets are going to fare in the regular season, going to the playoffs and being a dominant team, because we saw what happened last year. Kevin Durant can't hold down the fort by himself. But, I mean, of course, he will have James Harden this year, pending on James Harden hamstring doesn't act up again. He's starting to really kind of get that injury, the little knick-knack injury here and there a lot. So we'll see what happens with that. But they need Kyrie on the Nets if they're going to win a championship. They definitely do. And Kyrie's just going to have to make a decision whether he wants to win a championship with this team and do what's best for the team, or just look out for himself and just go ahead and possibly retire and don't even worry about nobody and just continue to think the earth is flat and the world's coming to an end, and all the stuff that Kyrie thinks of. You know how he thinks, and is that what he's gonna do? Kyrie's gonna have to figure out what's best. Do you want to retire now, or do you want to continue to keep playing and possibly win championships? Hey, but that's my take on the situation. Leave any comments in the comment section. Let me know what you think, as always. And hey, Cali out.